So we're here to talk about nightmare web designers. And my top 7 tips on how you deal with them. Hi everyone, this is Dean from the Elite Vendors Network, and I'm here today to talk to you about something a little bit different to what we would usually put on this channel, but we feel like it's really necessary to help others with what is quite a common pitfall we're finding in the industry, which is going with the wrong web designer to develop your website. Especially having some really bad experiences with web designers that say that they can do it, they take your money, they take the job, they waste your time, and then they don't deliver. So the Elite Vendors Network website went online back in September, and at first everything was all good. After not too long, the website started to go down, we started to get hacked, and it just wasn't working as we wanted it to work. Our web designer at the time tried to help as much as he could, but he didn't really know what he was doing. And then before long, he kept telling us he's gonna sort it out, And then before long, he ended up just dropping us basically, ended up leaving us to sort it out ourselves. And this was a very, very upsetting experience for me and my team, because we thought we had a relationship with the web designer. We thought we were on the same page, we thought we understood each other, and it didn't turn out to be that way. So he took on our project during lockdown when it was a lot quieter for him, I'm presuming, and as the months went on, it turned out that he wasn't the right person up to the job, even though he said that he was. So anyway, there's 2 sides to every story, or there's 3 sides as they say. There's our side, there's his side, and then there's the truth. So I'm not here necessarily to slate him, because me being me with my professional kind of hat on and my persona, I'm not necessarily gonna, just keep slating him and expose him and tell you any more information about him so you can work out who it is, because we're not here to try and out anybody and destroy the reputation of anyone's business. What we do want to do is make sure that if you are going to get your website designed by a so-called professional, that you know what questions to ask them, what signs to look out for, and just what best practices there are in web design and developer world, so you know a little bit about it yourself, so that you don't get caught unprepared and you don't get caught with the wrong person. Because someone designing your website is kind of like starting a little relationship. Like, you speak to them a lot, they have a lot of control over your business and your day-to-day running of things in your business, especially if you're running any kind of e-commerce site or anything where you depend upon the website to make sales. And you don't want this person to hold the fate of your business in their hands. In this day and age, there are many platforms where you can develop your own website. I'm pretty sure you must have heard of Squarespace and Wix and other platforms where you can develop your own site, and even WordPress. If you're like me, you don't really want much to do with the design of your website, in the sense of you want something that works, you want something that does what you want it to do in your head, but you don't necessarily want to go through and build it all yourself. Choose all the menus and make sure that when you click on one place it takes you to somewhere else, and write all of the content and choose all of the pictures. Like, I want a bit of input and I want to make decisions, but I don't necessarily want to be the person that's physically developing it or designing it myself. I would like to hopefully have a vision, put down a plan or a concept, speak to someone about it that understands, and then hopefully that person takes the vision, the concept, the idea, the plan through to execution and fruition. What I'm finding now though, especially after the Elite Vendors Network website went live in September, that not everyone in this industry that says that they are a web designer is capable of getting the job done. So our previous web designer walked the walk, talked the talk, but ultimately could not deliver and did not have the expertise, skills and knowledge to efficiently and effectively keep our website running and also manage our expectations as clients. So I'm here to give you my top 7 tips on what you need to look out for before engaging your web designer, and even what you need to do once you've chosen them and you're working with them along the process, just in case they do a runner on you or leave you in the dirt or in the dump. You're able to actually get yourself out of that position by quickly finding someone else and being able to communicate what has happened so far easily and quickly without having to start from scratch. And since encountering these problems, we have found that this is very common in the industry. You know, lots of people have been through a similar thing where they've had a really bad web designer and developer, but we are going to tell you, we have a new web developer and designer now. It's actually an agency, so there's more than one person. We're not saying that you stay away from one man or one person companies or one-man bands, because sometimes they are really great, yeah, but if whether you're going for an agency or one-man band, they could equally be as bad as each other. So here are some of the things you need to look out for so you don't get stuck in the same position that we got stuck in. We have a new developer now, a new designer now, and by the time hopefully you see this video, our website is fully back up and running, completed and finished. We want you to avoid negligence, bad customer service, bad communication, and just overall incompetence. So this is what we want to do. Get into our 7 tips of how exactly you can choose the dream web designer and developer instead of one from hell. Okay, tip number 1 is get a referral from someone you already know and trust, or a website like a freelancer website such as, you know, Fiverr or People Per Hour, Elancer, etc., where they've got some really good reviews. Or obviously word of mouth is the most powerful form of recommendation. So if you trust someone, know someone in business such as myself or the Elite Vendors Network, you might want to come to someone like us for us to recommend a good person to you. But then don't just stop there. Also get references, yeah? Maybe get 2 to 3 references of someone's past clientele, and if you can, get permission to contact them by email or even over the phone. I've done this before with accountants, with other freelancers I've used. Don't just take maybe one person's word for it. Maybe take the time out to speak to their previous clients, preferably over the phone, because they will usually give you honest feedback of, you know, the service might not be perfect, but it's good enough. You know, the person has these good points, these are the things to look out for. As long as you maybe put things on paper, write it down, send it in an email, make sure it's clear, the person will do a good job. Or they might just tell you to stay away from them altogether. Number 2 is to check someone's portfolio. That's a mistake that we made with our first developer, is that he had some really good websites, but the websites didn't look anything like we wanted. They looked good, they looked clean, but they were your regular kind of 5-page websites of, you know, homepage, about us, services, blog, contact us. It wasn't an actual, like a directory website, which is a lot bigger, has many more pages, has a lot more things that the website needs to do in terms of functionality, and even in terms of design and usability. He hadn't done a website like ours before, but he said that he was capable of doing it, but he was definitely out of his league. So maybe check previous projects, previous work that they've either been involved in as part of a team or they've done by themselves. I'm a big fan of, you know, people trying and giving people a chance, but sometimes when a project is of a certain size, unless someone's done it before, got some experience, or can tell you that they haven't potentially they haven't had experience doing this particular site, but this is how they would approach this project, it's probably best you go to someone who's already got the experience. Tip number 3, get as many agreements as you can in writing, and that's everything from a proposal or quote to a service level agreement, terms and conditions, a contract, timelines, deadlines, etc. Even if it's an industry friend or someone you've got quite a casual relationship with, like, you know, like you could even be a family member that's working on your website or other project. I would say get this information up front instead of chasing chasing for it afterwards, because it's going to be very difficult to get it once the person has started work, or it's usually more difficult. Obviously, lots and lots of writing and paperwork and emails and admin is not fun for many of us, especially someone like myself. Some people absolutely love it. They love the paperwork, etc. If it's not for you, maybe get someone in your team to do it, or another friend or family member to sort it out for you. But I would definitely say, as a minimum, you don't want loads and loads of bits of paper, but what you want to at least get is some kind of service level agreement or contract, a quote / proposal, and also an invoice with like a final price, and then also how much it costs for anything that you haven't agreed to get priced up as well. So anything outside of this original scope that maybe wasn't seen at the beginning, wasn't in the original brief, etc. Maybe you can get a price of how much per hour, per day, etc. it's going to take to get that work done. Because you don't want to get into bed with someone, metaphorically, with the website, and then they've kind of got you where they want you, basically, and then they just start giving you all sorts of expensive prices and quotes to do anything extra than what you've already asked them for. Tip number 4. Always, if you can, pay in installments. Obviously, your web designer or developer is gonna want to be paid as soon as possible, which, you know, most of us entrepreneurs or small business owners understand. And they might even offer you an incentive for it to be cheaper for you to pay up front. I would highly recommend that you don't do that. I would say pay in installments if you can. Maybe pay a deposit up front for them to start the work, which is quite common for people to request. 25%, 30%. I've had people ask me for even up to 40%. Anything like that is fine. Maybe even up to 50%. But do not pay the whole amount up front. I would definitely say to spread the payments over 3 to 4 stages, like kind of, and have checkpoints where you make the next payment. So payment 1 is the starting stage. Payment 2 is like maybe a few weeks or months down the line, depending on how big the website is or how long it's going to take. That's when you check in with each other again properly, get a review, make the second payment, third payment, fourth payment, usually just before or on completion. I made the mistake of, with our first developer, not only paying him for one website in full, but I paid him for 2 websites in full, because I was actually developing another website that I was going to use him for, which he started but didn't finish. So now I have to go to another developer, which I said I've now got, to finish my first site but also finish the second site, which is costing me lots of money and lots of time, lots of effort and energy, going through similar things again, explaining it once again, and paying for it again when I've already paid for it. So I would definitely say to avoid that if you can. Number 5. Document your website build as you go, with screenshots, with recordings of meetings or recordings of the website itself, just using Zoom or something like that. And also making sure that you save as many images, videos, text, you know, diagrams, sketches, plans as possible on your side, so you have as much control as the web designer does. Because obviously if you're using an agency or a development team that's really involved and they're putting in a lot of the copy, the images, the colors, all sorts of stuff, and they've got it all on their side, if the relationship goes bad, guess what? You're not going to get many of those images, you're not going to get most of the information you need, even down to the colors, specific colors you need for certain menu tabs, pages, headers, etc. You want to keep as much detail as you can on your side. Just every time something is changed on your side, so you have as much control. The team that's really involved, and they're putting in a lot of the copy, the images, the colors. Every time something is changed, make a note of it on your side, keep it in a separate document, and make sure that you have all the information you need to be able to just look back on it yourself. If the website needs to be redesigned, you can do it. If you need to move developer or you need to move designer, it's not so much of an issue. That's a mistake that we made on the first version of our website. We didn't have everything properly documented, and we basically had to do a lot of the explaining of what we wanted to the new developer. So that brings me now on to number 6. So keep all images yourself. So if your designer or developer does a mad one and runs off and you can't contact them again, you definitely want to be able to make sure you can quickly move it over to someone else. Our developer actually blocked. Make sure you're keeping regular backups on your side as well. So even if you're developer if we weren't in a position to basically move some of the old content over to the new site, theme and developer, we would literally be having to start from scratch once again. So yeah, keep all your images, text, video, all of your content basically, keep it on your side somewhere where you can easily access it, and so can your team. Which leads me nicely onto point number 6. If and when your website goes live, your designer is saying that they are doing backups, that's fine if they're doing them. Make sure that you are checking that that's being done though. As often as you can, set yourself an alarm, a reminder to check at least once a week that your website is being backed up, and ask for regular copies yourself. Put them somewhere, whether it's Google Drive or Dropbox or some other online file sharing platform where both you and the developer / designer has access to your backups, especially if the developer and or designer is hosting your site as well. That often means that you don't have much access to some of the information you need into the back end if things really hit the fan.
It's gonna hit the fan.
Point number 7. This is my final point now. Point number 7. The final point is to make sure as much as you can to record your conversations, your conference calls, your Zoom calls. I'm not saying to secretly record, but anytime you're having Zoom meetings, either one-on-one with your developer / designer, with the team, or with your wider team, record what has been said. Take note, just so that if you ever do need to go back and check what was agreed at a certain point, especially if it wasn't followed up with some kind of formal agreement or something in writing or email, you can just easily go back and check a conversation. I think is crucial. I think it's quite critical. Obviously, ask the permission of whoever you're working with if the calls can be recorded. If they can't, then obviously you want to find out why. But obviously when things are all going well and you guys are all in honeymoon cloud 9 land, you don't really think much about this stuff. But when it goes wrong, you really sometimes wish, and that's we wished that we had more information recorded, more conversations recorded, more agreements recorded, because we were actually thinking of going legal with it, but we ended up not doing so because we thought it's just gonna be more time and more money than it's worth. And again, we don't want to destroy his business. He didn't do a good job with us, but he can continue. He might do a better job with other people, but we didn't want to necessarily take his business down, which probably would have happened. And if you're still here and you want the bonus tip number 8, it is to basically use someone from the Elite Vendors Network in terms of your vendors for your event, for your weddings, so that you can get someone that you can trust. So hopefully you don't end up in a similar situation as we did when we were building the first version of our website. We don't do websites ourselves at the Elite Vendors Network, but we know people within our network that do, so we can recommend them to you and we can trust that they will do a really good job for you. So listen, when all else is failing and you're not sure about other people to use, always come to us. We will recommend the right people to you and you can trust that they will deliver for you 100%. That's the EVN promise. Alright, thank you for watching this video. If you're still here now, thank you. It means that we've brought some value to you. Please like the video below, comment below, also share with a friend if you feel like this could help them, and obviously we're going to ask you to click the red button and subscribe. Thank you very much. My name's Dean from the Elite Vendors Network. Please check out some of our other videos which you'll see on screen right now, and we look forward to speaking to you again soon. Take care. Also check out our website elitevendorsnetwork.com, which is now up and running and working, and follow us on all of these social media platforms. Thank you very much. Bye bye.